and welcome to Planning Preview for the month of February. My name is Jason Bieber with the Planning Office with the City of Sioux Falls, and joining me is Karla with the Planning Office, Urban and Planner Extraordinaire, right?
Yes, I'm back. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Well, we're glad to have you back, and since you actually get to work on most of these, it's great to have you here and actually tell us about them since I don't really know anything anymore.
Yeah,
so.
I sure will do that today. The first item on the agenda is a rezone from all sorts of different residential zoning classifications to the CN. This is because they're going to plat that property separately, and it's going to drain for the whole, it's going to convey drainage for the whole neighborhood, and then the city will maintain that as a drainage easement.
So I think we just recently purchased this property, correct?
Yep, the city acquired it
Yep.
a couple of months ago, and now that it's closed, they can move forward with the application. That's why you'll see them as the applicant.
Yeah, this is one of our drainage projects that we do where we develop regional detention ponds, and then we get certain drainage areas to kind of help with public drainage, which has been really good because some of the older developments from the 70s and stuff that have had drainage ponds that say were owned by the homeowners association, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times those developers are no longer around, and sometimes the homeowners association just disbands, and then nobody maintains them. So This is what's great about the city owning this, because we'll maintain them and we'll do that for perpetuity. So it's great. And then we've got the next two. So 2 and 3 here, we actually have 2 applications, and these are for rezoning, kind of similar to conservation, right? Correct?
Right. These will convey private drainage waters in the neighborhood.
So these aren't areas that will do the public drainage, correct? These are areas that when the developer constructs townhomes, office, commercial, they have certain requirements for on-site detention to make sure that the water doesn't run off any faster than it currently is as a field, correct?
Yep, and this privately zoned conservation area will help with that.
Great. All right. What do we got for the next one? Looks like some industrial land.
And number 4 is an increase of density, essentially, or of use from the lower intensity of the industrial to the higher intensity that will allow them to do a food processing plant and move forward with that business model.
So this is located up in the Development Foundation's land, up in 60th Street and I-20, 229. I think it's the lot just north of the new National Guard Readiness Center, correct?
Correct, and it's just a portion of it that they're looking at rezoning.
So continuing to get some fill-in industrial business, manufacturing businesses in some of the development parks that the Development Foundation already works, which are good uses. So
right, industrial sparks all different sorts of business models and trades, bringing in different professionals. So another job opportunity for residents of our city.
Great. And then we've got one, I think we don't see this very often, but it looks like an alternative site plan.
Yeah, so like you said, not one that we see very often, but if it makes sense, an applicant can move forward with an alternative site plan if they can still maintain those buffer units, the trees, the berms, the landscaping and a fence, but maybe do something different with the setback requirement in this case. And then if you get support from the neighborhood and everybody's kind of on the same page, we don't see why we can't support an alternative site plan.
So this is actually the old Conlon's Furniture Building.
Yep. So it sounds like Montgomery's is purchasing this and expanding their business footprint into this area, and the alternative site plan allows for that flexibility. Like I said, with them being right adjacent to that neighborhood, if they can work with the neighborhood as to what the biggest win might look like there. That's what they'll do. Yeah,
that's great, and I think we've seen their plan, and it's going to provide some additional trees and stuff and a taller fence to help kind of protect the trucks backing up in there, which I think is good for both properties. But this one is going to be kind of a nice use of this, because Montgomery's, their plan for that is to really kind of give it a facelift and actually redo the parking lot, get some more green space on 41st Street. So this will be kind of a great little addition to Montgomery's furniture thing.
More amenities to 41st Street.
That's right. Well, that's what we got today. It looks like six items for the February Planning Commission. So thanks for joining us.
You bet. Thanks.
And stay tuned, Sioux Falls. After the break, we're going to have Neil King, our chief building official, come on and talk about 2024 permit numbers and maybe give us just a little bit of a glimpse into what he's going to see in 2025. Stay tuned.
Hey, this is Seth with the City of Sioux Falls Housing Division. I'm here today with another Home Maintenance Minute for you. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about your driveway in the winter. It is a city ordinance that you have to remove the snow within 48 hours of each snow event. And so in order to get that snow and ice off of your sidewalks, off of your driveways for yourself, a lot of people like to use salt. And I myself have used salt and it works really great. However, as you can see with this driveway, this in particular homeowner used some really aggressive salts, and so it actually ate through the top layer of their driveway, and it's all pitted, and there's sand everywhere, and this concrete isn't going to last as long as it should. And so I just want to encourage you, when you're buying salt for this winter, to look for a magnesium chloride. It is the most eco-friendly salt. It works up to 15 degrees below zero, and you don't have to worry about your pet's paws or anything like that. It's a really great product. It will be safe for your cement. However, still use sparingly. Don't overdo it. Thank you for watching today's Home Maintenance Minute.
Welcome back to Planning Preview for the month of February. Joining me now is Neil King, our chief building official.
Thanks, Jason. It's good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. So you've been in the job roughly 4 months?
Yep, about 4 months, almost exactly, I think. So,
But chief building official, but before you were the building inspection manager, so you were with the department and still doing construction inspections and all that
yep.
stuff. So
9 years before I was promoted up. So, yep.
So it was a, I shouldn't say easy transition, but you somewhat knew everything that was kind of going along, and now you just have to be in the office more, right?
More in the office, a lot more meetings, and yeah, I'll dig into the code a little bit more than I had to before. So, yep.
Well, that's okay. Well, we wanted you on the show this month because we got obviously our 2024 numbers, and I think the mayor did a press conference a couple weeks ago or whenever that was and went through them. But maybe we could have you on here and kind of go through them a little bit, and maybe just some things that you're seeing for trends, and give us maybe some projects that you're expecting for 2025. So
yeah, 2024 was another good year, the fourth best year the city has had. We broke that $1 billion mark again with $1.076 billion. So, that's nice to see that just staying steady. Not really a recession, so our slowdown is keeping us steady.
Yeah.
So that's good to see. Houses were up, which is good. The interest rates and inflation, to see that the housing market was actually up in our market, that was a very positive thing to see. People are still moving to Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls is still the place to be in the Midwest, so that's a good thing. So
yeah, and when the mayor and our assistant director Kevin Smith did that press conference, they projected 5,900 people came to Sioux Falls, which is, like we talk about in our department, every year it's 2.5% to 3%. So every year for the last long time, way before my time, 6,000 people or so moved to Sioux Falls every year. So we have to continue, obviously, to provide housing and jobs and entertainment options, libraries, schools, all that different stuff. So
yeah, and it's not only Sioux Falls, the whole metro area. I come in from Crooks, and 5 years ago when I got on the interstate in the morning, I was the only car, and now I better be paying attention. So,
well, as you talked about it, which was a good sign, I think that single-family units were up to roughly 100 more than last year, so 20% or so. Yeah. But what we did see then is our apartment units going down probably maybe a little more than that, 25 to 30%. But I think, and you've seen this too, I think in Sioux Falls, we kind of have that cycle, right, where we built a ton of apartments over the last 5 years. They've all kind of come online, and so now they're building less and less, and then over the next couple of years, once the occupancy rates continue, start going back up, they'll start building again, and it just keeps kind of doing that over 5-year cycle.
Yeah, like you can see, 2022 we had over 3,000 units. Well, a lot of those apartments are getting done this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, that number, it takes 2, maybe 3 years for an apartment building to from permit issue to occupancy. So yeah, that's why you see that up and flow of that number, because it's not that they're not under construction.
Yeah.
They're under construction. It just, they're drawn out for the project. So
Yeah, and it probably took a little bit longer, just still with supply issues back then too, to still continue
Yep.
to get some of that stuff. But yeah, so that's great to see the single family houses coming online and more getting built with that. Do you see more of, with the 532, are those any of those spec houses, or are they really just building them for and then they sell right away? Do they keep a lot of inventory? Or builders?
I don't think there's a lot of spec homes being built. There's still a lot of custom homes. There's a few. You got your bigger builders that they're always going to have spec houses going because they're wanting an inventory to sell. But I would say the vast majority of that number is still the custom home, people building their second home, third home, like that.
Yeah, and like I said, do you kind of see maybe 2025 to continue to have more single family units? That number to go up and the multifamily still to go down, or you think our multifamilies kind of going to level off in 2025?
I think the number of units in multifamily will go down. You'll see the permits still up there, because what we're seeing is a trend away from the giant apartment buildings.
Yeah.
We're seeing the smaller ones, the 14, 15, 20 unit buildings that are going up. So that the number of permits I think will stay, but you'll see that number go down in the multifamily. Single family I expect to go up. From October to the end of December, we issued 120 single-family
Holy
homes.
cow.
So 120 homes going into the winter months.
There's a lot.
So there's a demand there, and people
Yeah.
are willing to pay, because it costs extra to build in the winter. You got the cold weather, the heating of while you're doing it. So it's not cheap to build in the winter. It raises the price of the house.
So you had talked about the smaller, not the big, say, Powder House Pass apartment that's like 500, 450 units,
Yep.
or the Greystone apartments that were close to 400. So what do you see, or why are they going to the smaller number of units per building kind of a thing?
I think a lot of it is how long it takes that big building to get built. They're looking to turn around and make money on their investment, and they can turn those smaller buildings over faster and get them filled up. And they're being built in complexes. So the complex might still have 400 units. It's just broke up into smaller buildings.
So do you think they kind of phase it then?
Yeah.
Or they kind of, hey, I'm going to build building 1 and 2, and once those rent, then or lease, then I can do the next couple?
So instead of waiting for a entire 400 unit building to come online, and now that they're getting those units online in a phased out period and make more money on their investments.
And I think that's what's great about your department is you allow them to get their certificate of occupancy or their temporary occupancy for individual buildings instead of waiting for the entire complex to come on, just to help get them going, get some revenue, and kind of get them leased. So
Exactly.
yeah, so a couple other things let's look through here. Your manufacturing looked like that was down. We probably for next year, CJ Foods has purchased their property out there at Foundation Park. Is that something that we're expecting probably to get that permit in 2025?
Yeah, that'll be permitted before the summer. March is when they want to come in for footings and foundations. So that project will be going summer. So I don't know I'm guessing that'll be probably an 18-month project, somewhere around there before they're up and operational. But that's another job. They're saying 500 jobs is what they're wanting to provide. So
yeah, that's great. So that should pop that number up a little bit. Looks like new office, institutional, and educational, we're up a little bit in that. And I think one of the big projects, or one of the great projects that I've seen, is the new Lifescape building. Does that kind of go into that amount of money there?
Yeah, that's going to jump into that bucket right there. That's just your government stuff, your schools, Lifescape. They got the new juvenile justice center that's being built. So all that stuff, as the city grows, you need more and more of that stuff also. So
yep, those are some of the good projects. And then it looks like commercial is almost double what it was last year. New strip malls, hotels, restaurants. What do you think's driving that? Is that like the Sioux Steel development and Charapa, those, or are we talking about other ones?
Yeah, that's going to be what I like to say, your projects that provide amenities to the community. As our population was 6,000 people, they got to buy groceries now. They got to go out for for a drink, go out to eat, you know, all that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
providing those amenities for the people that are moving in. So
Yeah, we've seen a lot of new restaurants open over 2024, and especially quite a few just downtown in that area. So
Yep.
that's been great. So maybe anything else you see on the sheet from 2024 that surprises you, or is it pretty much kind of similar to what you typically always see?
this is very similar to what we see in Sioux Falls. You know, a nice thing to see, and the mayor mentioned this in his press conference, is we have a good mixture. You know, we have the small and the big and manufacturing and the apartments and the houses. So we're not just waiting on one industry like the medical field or manufacturing. So we got a good mix of everything going on.
Yep, that's great to see. And so if you could project our building permit data for 2025, I'm assuming it's the new norm is over $1 billion. We should be at $1 billion. And some of just the projects maybe I've heard of, and some of the ones maybe you've heard of too, do you think we're going to get over that 1.1 billion? I mean, there's some pretty big ones coming this year if everything goes according to plan.
Yeah, I have no doubt that we'll get over that 1 billion. I think we'll beat 2024. I don't know by a lot.
Yeah.
So we're going to be right there. You're going to see a nice and steady for a couple years before we see any type of increase again. Just labor is a big thing in Sioux Falls right now. They're still trying to everybody's hiring. It doesn't matter what industry, Walmart or construction companies, they're all hiring. So they need more people. So
yeah, we constantly have like a 2% or less unemployment rate, and it's crazy. Like you talked about that 6,000 people come every year, but we still constantly have this low unemployment rate. So which are good things with being built. So let's just maybe pivot here a little bit. I just wanted to run through you guys, which I think is great. Keep track of projects over 10 million. You keep track of all projects, but these are some of the bigger projects that we've done that year. And one thing I found interesting for last year is we didn't have a project over 100 million or 75 million that, you know, previously we had Chirape and Sioux Steel. Those were like over 200
yeah,
million.
those were huge.
So it's this number is good, and we've had, because we haven't had those really big projects to go, but just a couple of ones I wanted to look here. So we have the one-stop building obviously is the biggest project we did.
That was the biggest one of the year. So
over 70 million, and just how fast they built that thing is insane out there. And I think part of it's open, right? Do they have the certificate of occupancy?
They're working on it. So very shortly there's going to be people working out there. So.
Working in there. And then I talked a little bit about the Lifescape building that's 60 million up in the northwest part of the city, which is great that they're having a state-of-the-art campus and be able to kind of get out of that central location they do with all the challenges with an old building and stuff. So that'll be a great one. And then we had the great Avera on Louise, Avera Health. They had their new building, about 54 million on the 69th and Louise campus. And then have we seen their building that they're doing on their main campus?
The addition on the main campus, all we've issued for that is footing and foundations. Yep. This week the shell permit came in, so basically the skeleton of the building and the exterior walls. And those big projects usually get phased out like that in 3 permits, so they can, construction can continue while they're finalizing the final office layout or simple things like that. And then that last build out package will come in. So
what usually is the highest valuation permit?
The build out will be the high.
So the third one that you'll get there.
Yep, that'll be the high one for those 3.
And you expect that this year then too?
That'll be, like I said, the shell just came in. So that means they're ready to start going up, and we've had many conversations with them, and like I said, it's just now finalizing the final layout of the building, and offices, how exactly big they need to be, and is this going to work out? We might need to move that door because we want final construction plans when they come in. So,
well, I think it's great that they're doing improvements to their south campus, and they're continuing to improve that kind of central located campus. So, big deals that Avera's working on there. Yeah, and then we got a couple of apartments. Obviously, we get those every year. We've got, looking at some of these other ones, more apartments, some townhomes. The Evermore Extended Stay Hotel. I hadn't heard of that one. Where's that one located at? It says North Westport.
Oh, geez, I don't know where that one is. Yeah, Northwest part.
Oh, that might be out by the Sanford Sports Complex. Is that up there?
That's where that would be going. Yep, there's a lot of projects. There's a lot of stuff going on out in that complex right now. So.
Yeah, that's another big one, a new hotel that we haven't seen And then just a lot of obviously other apartments, which we see quite a bit. So some really good projects that aren't apartment projects, which is kind of nice to see some of those other investments like office and the jail. So, well, we got you here. Well, we're going to have you back at the obviously beginning of 2025 to see if your $1 billion prediction comes true, and hopefully everything keeps plugging along with the city, which it always does, it seems to. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, Neil.
Well, thank you for having me again.
And thanks for joining us for Planning Preview for the month of February. Our meeting this month is February 5th. That's Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the Carnegie Town Hall. And as always, we allow public input on any of our items on the Planning Commission for that month, as well as we have a 5-minute comment period at the end of the agenda to talk anything planning related. Thanks, Sioux Falls, and have a great day.